Are we starting early? Call the EDA meeting's order.
Go ahead, Ms. Celia. Maybe to approve the agenda first.
Yeah, do we have it? I don't have the agenda.
It's on your thing, hit the, hit the square button.
It's EDA agenda package, right?
Oh, is it on a
Oh, it's
different?
not, because it comes by a separate email.
It's not in there.
Oh,
Oh, it's
okay.
weird.
Oh,
Yeah, you're fine.
okay.
Sorry, technical difficulties. Okay. That's why you have several papers in front of you as well, technical difficulties.
I don't have an agenda.
I can print you out another.
No, I have it in front of me now. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Approval of July 22nd, 2024 board minutes.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes from our last meeting.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Financial reports. We have the fund report. Everybody has a print out.
Yeah, it's printed a little funky in your packet, so I rated it. The only thing I'd note in there is that in Fund 40, we are getting to the maturity date for those loans that receive commercial rehab funds. The first one has already been forgiven or satisfied as of August 1st, so the other two will be forgiven or satisfied in the next month.
That was Fund 40.
Yes.
You want to see all my scribble marks? I was like confused on that. Now I know exactly what it
Yep.
is. All right.
And so, yeah, it'll be down after September's over. We'll just have the cash on hand left in that account.
Just the 22,000?
Yep. Okay.
Is that the one we were gonna move to something else at all, or was that?
We've already done, I mean, no, those numbers haven't been corrected on this sheet yet. We did it with staff, but it hasn't been adjusted on this report yet.
Okay.
So it's a smaller balance than 22,000. The portion that was taken out went to Pacific Road Fund 45.
Any other discussion on anything? Old business?
So the first thing I have is the, Smith Taylorville Improvements Grant Submission, sorry, old business, there's nothing.
Okay.
New business.
New business.
Is the Smith Taylorville Improvements Grant Submission. This is a pilot program. It was funded through Taylor Families Plan Foundation. With this pilot program, they only opened it up to CETA communities, so I wanted to make sure that we really took advantage of it since we're one of the few communities who can. The grant provides up to $25,000 with a minimum 25% match. It seeks to support capital projects that can make a big impact in the 5 and 6 small towns, limited to towns under 10,000, and due on August 29th. It opened on August 1st, which is why I was able to bring it to you before now. So look at it. So based on past discussion, I've written a grant proposal to construct a small park playground up on Riverview Heights. And then I've got the budget in front of all of you because I didn't make it in the packet. I can go through the budget line. I can talk about more about what the park looks like. As we discussed back in early 2024 or late 2023, we're looking at doing a cement sidewalk along the corner there to finish off that sidewalk with ADA accessible ramps, and then this playground equipment, ideally a bench or something there, maybe some trees. We talked with Bolton about how to do it, it's a pretty small all those.
There's not much in there.
While I know that this is really focused in on one small section of the community, it does provide another recreational space within within Medelia, especially when we have flood challenges and some differences as we go forward with looking at playground equipment and what have you. So, what I'm looking for then is approval to submit the proposed project. If we don't get the grant, we'll revisit it in October, that's when we'll know. If we do get it, then we would look at, we need to have about $40,000 dedicated to finish off the rest of the project. That includes equipment, grate installation, surfacing, sidewalk concrete, all of that. Yeah. But we would be saving potentially $25,000 for this project.
I'll make a motion that we submit this grant application.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
The next item I have is the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities regional discussion. The CPMC recently is highlighting regional discussions because they have growing membership and just limited capacity to attend different council meetings. We wanted to get feedback on how it went. Obviously, none of you were able to attend. I was only able to attend from the city. I feel that partnering with them is important, being a member with them is important due to some of their legislative priorities. Chris and I talked about it too afterwards. We all have a packet here in front of you with their contact information and some of their final outcomes. The ones that highlighted were that emergency ambulancing, which we've already had discussions with Medelia Health on how best to utilize. I believe Chris and Heather know a little bit more about that than I do. Additionally, they were really focused on trying to push forward a bonding bill. As you know, a bonding bill did not happen. That was likely due to the fact that we had one for last year, so legislators weren't super excited about doing one again. Some of the cleanup from some of the policies that went forward last year, as well as some of the various things that happened, the arrest, some of the Uber Lyft stuff, and a debate amongst different parties. The last priority was to tell the legislators to slow down until we got to these new policies. Chris and I, and Heather and I, know they put a lot of new things in front of us for businesses as well as the city in terms of at least workforce. They also talked about that missing the housing bills, maybe a new thing, which would have been a lot of administrative work for some of us or revisiting some of our policies. So those were their priorities. Going back to that missing middle housing bill, if you're on the planning commission, you know that we talked about this a little bit there. This was a policy put forward by several different groups that some different bills to try to standardize some of the zoning laws across different communities. One of them was about, one of the stipulations was to require in commercial areas that you have multifamily housing, some removal of parking restrictions, things like that. None of it went forward. Part of it was because of the advocacy of CGMC and the League of Minnesota State as well. And that was a lot to throw at you. Like I said, there's some things here. There's also staff contracts if you're particularly interested in something.
In other words, it's a good organization to be a member of, even if their member fees are going up a little bit. So.
No, I just wanted to share what they had done because you guys weren't able to attend and since they're not going to come.
Yeah. Do you remember that they used to come here and talk?
But here last fall, I saw them.
Yeah, they came and talked, and now they're not going to come and talk at any council meetings.
I think they're looking at maybe doing like every year, like every 3 years visiting cities, but they don't know yet. I'll look.
staff report though?
Nope, we got,
You have the review?
so, you guys have never had a budget really for, I mean, you have, at different points, but not in a long while for EPA, and so Chris and I kind of talked to see what would be the best way forward. My role is EPA focused, but sometimes I do stuff that's for the city, and it was paid for through the city. So what we determined was the best route was to create kind of a department within the Jet City's general fund for my position and some of the work that I do. We still have Fund 52, which deals with Riverview Heights, and then our different program funds for the revolving loan funds and such. But creating a whole separate fund for me or mixing me in with somebody else didn't really make sense.
But correct me if I'm wrong, Julia, is we want to get to a point that the 52 fund goes back to community development and not so focused on Riverview Heights.
Yes.
Am I right?
It's supposed to be like an economic development fund, so that you can invest in different infrastructure projects. It's been Riverview Heights because that's the only project we've had since 2000. We've also used it obviously for revolving loan funds, which you can argue are an investment in infrastructure, but so if you look at this budget, I've got some numbers down. Really, most of them are zero. We just wanted to create a framework for future years. The one thing we do have numbers for is for my contract. I know that the projected increase is 5%. Additionally, I talked with Chris and we got to request a $10,000 to be set aside for a housing study. I'd really like to see a countywide housing study. The reason for this is that I've had developers in the community ask for this. We need housing in our community. We know that we have funds for housing, specifically low-income housing, and so we want to see how best to utilize that here. And last week, in my other contract in Fairfield County, I got to listen to a panel of developers talk about what they'd like to see in small communities when they're looking to do projects. And they mentioned that a countywide study was better for their projects because of the kind of interconnectedness of these communities, right? People traveling between different cities, as well as just maybe they can package several projects at once. Maybe this community needs duplex, this one needs one, this one needs one. They can make it cost effective that way. Otherwise, they end up having to build 24-unit apartment buildings, which maybe aren't needed in every community. So. Generally, housing studies can run up to $15,000. I'm trying to look for ways to partner for a county one. I talked to St. James, we're talking to March tomorrow. But basically, any questions? The $25,000 proposed actually, I think I meant to put that in 2024, but never mind. That is from that Taylor Rural Improvements Grant. We're requesting $25,000.
As county commissioner, is this anything that anybody has brought up to you, or?
Yeah, but it's a good time. Budget hearings are meeting for tomorrow and Wednesday. Perfect time. And you said Kelly knows about this.
We're going to Brianna. So the route I've gone through is to talk to St. James, so I know they're doing their own budgeting. And I was going to go to Mark. But I should go to the county. I'm happy to do that as well. I just know that the county already sends economic development funds to Mark. So I feel like that's a good one. Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your?
The total project estimated for a countywide one would be about $25,000, maybe 30. So if there are funds, I probably
Let's
will.
see what they say.
Thank you. Yeah. From my knowledge, I wasn't able to see any county housing studies in the past, so. And the last one Medelia did was in the 90s, but it's not relevant anymore.
No, I think that was for Riverview Heights too.
Yep. And St. James did one in 2016, and is still looking at doing one even more recently, in 2026, so.
Yeah.
If we can get it all together, do one cost effectively for all of us.
I was just gonna say, would it be cheaper, obviously, if the county did it?
Absolutely, yep. And especially if the developers are saying they don't need a city one to do the project forward, or to go forward, I think that would be a benefit to us as well.
We'll talk about shopping the sheriff's budget.
Give him one shot.
I'd love that. Don't blame me.
Staff report?
Okay. I started doing business visits, kind of have conversations with the businesses to see what they would like me to do for my role, advocate for, bring to them, workshops, things like that. This last month has really been focused on grant writing, in addition to writing this one today, which I think I did all this morning. I've been working with the Daily Municipal Light and Power on their strengthening grid resiliency grant. I think they're applying for about $300,000 through this federal money that Minnesota got awarded. They're applying for. They're looking at doing infrastructure upgrades in Vidalia Mobile Village, Vidalia High School, as well as 6th Street. So it's going to be a really great project. Vidalia Public Health Advisory Committee, I went to that meeting. Not much to update on it. State Routes to School, we looked at that last year. We're looking at wrapping up that plan finally in case we want to move forward with projects. I've highlighted here that we also had a conversation with different stakeholders on the intersection specifically near Tony Downs and House of Print on how to make sure that that's safer. And so we got the county, city, those businesses, and kind of got a plan started. And then finally the housing forum. St. James hosted a housing forum to talk about their program as well as the county program for housing rehab coming soon. Brianna said it's supposed to be launched in September, but I haven't heard a word about it yet. Any questions?
As long as you were talking about safety, I was just concerned about that building that's sitting, that temporary thing in front of Tony Downs as the kids try to pass anywhere in there.
Do we have a timeline on how long that's gonna be then?
Jim, do you remember, was it October?
Second week in October.
Yeah.
It's, the engineer asked to put more cones up.
Yeah.
I told Chris to call the sheriff and call the engineer about it.
They made an attempt, you know, to put cones and signs up, so.
I just didn't know if we had addressed anything with kids coming across when school starts.
No, but I don't know that there's a ton of kids that cross in that particular neighborhood.
Yeah, we can use-
There's not
everything
one
gets
crossing down by the industrial areas.
Phyllis, that's what our meeting was about, is crossing on Menzel, by Fifth and up by Tony, or up by House Print and Tony Downs.
Yeah.
We were in a meeting, and so we're taking it to the engineer to do a concept design.
Yeah.
So that's what we said at that. That's what we were just talking about.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's what I asked.
I think most of the kids in that neighborhood are bus for the school anyway.
It's not so much maybe during the school, but during summer, they're crossing by Fifth and going to the park, or they're crossing to go to the pool. And so we need to address it, especially if we're enhancing anything down in that area, that we have to look at some crosswalks that are safe.
I just noticed it also with not only children, but adults coming in and out, because a lot of them, they're standing there on the sidewalk and they're on the phone, and they're literally walking out in,
Yeah.
you know, they're not, they're oblivious to.
And so, all the people, I mean, House Print was at the table, Tony Downs was at the table, County Commissioner was at the table, County Engineer, Glenn, the council was sitting there. We all went through everything. Everybody's pretty much on board that we need to do some sort of concept design, and then we'll go from there.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, but didn't they also say that the county engineer said the funding is there?
Yeah, it'll be paid for,
Yeah, it's just getting the design
Just
concept.
getting the design down there.
I know it's there, but nobody room for it.
Yep. Okay, so I just will add another thing to Adam's plate.
Okay.
Just waiting for him to freak out on me.
Need a motion? All right, so move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.